And I
It
want
Exactly,
will
and that's it,
be
and
more
that's what a lot
awakening.
of people tried to do to me. Is like they tried to preach to me about it. I'm like, eh, like I keep it, I keep telling them I hear you, and I respect it, but like it's like how would I say it? Like it's not. I'm not saying I don't care about it. I'm just saying like sometimes there may not be a
I've
best time for me to talk about it with people, you
I've
know?
had other Christians, and I thank you for saying what you're saying. I don't mean to cut you off, and I want to give you a chance to talk more. But I've had other Christians tell me they're like, the way you talk to people like that, you need to be doing more harsh about it. More, they don't really say the word harsh, but they say you need to be more judgmental or whatever else. And I'm like, why? We're not supposed to be
Exactly.
judgmental, first of all, And I said, I've been doing this for 3 years. I've been on the TikTok doing this for 3 years. I've taken some time off to study the word more, but I've been doing it for 3 years, and I've talked about God and loving it without having to throw a lot of verses out. Dark Phoenix is only
Exactly.
about a year, I guess. And
Mhm.
people, I've known so many people that's told me, I don't know if I believe in God or whatever else when I first met them, and they kept coming back and listening to the conversations and just talking. I mean, because I'm not going to their live and hunting them down or anything else. They're coming to my live. And they know
No.
what I talk about. They know what I do. So they want to know. They're being drawn to it. And it may not be that conversation I've had, but I have seen, I can name five, I'm not going to name their names, but I can name five right now off the top of my head that have went from going, I don't know, I've given up on God or anything else to have gone to, thank you, you brought me back to God and I believe, can you say a prayer for me? Can we do this? And they keep in touch with me and stuff. So,
Well, and
you know,
see, like it.
we're, we all have to make our decisions our own ways at our own time. For me to force it on you, it's going to make you just push you away and everything else. I hope it makes you think. I'll give you, last night I had a friend of mine message me, and they had an apartment they used to live into that they had just moved out of not long ago. There was a man there that had killed two other people. They all lived together, and there was because the guy was out of substance and this and that, whatever, right? Well, she was like, what if I was still living there and stuff. And she was freaking out, and she started with just talking, and she just needed somebody to talk to. And many times I wanted to reach out and say, God says this right here, whatever else. We didn't look at it this, and I kept deleting what I was saying and retyping, and then deleting again, retyping, and finally I'm like, I don't know what to say here. Just know this: I'm here, I love you, and I'm praying because there's a time
Exactly.
to be able to shove God on them and say, God says this, and there's a time to just shut up and say, I'm here.
Exactly. And honestly, there was like when I was and about the judgmental part, like when I was at the mental place recently, there was a woman that was extremely judgmental Christian. Like I'm not insulting a Christian, but she was extremely judgmental, and she basically said that if you don't follow Jesus, and you're pagan, you're evil. I'm like, I looked her dead in the eye and I said, I, I, I don't. I hear what you're saying, but if there's gonna be no respect between that, there's no reason for you and me to talk. But now the reason why I have some Christian friends is because some of them, I respect them not just because of their religion, but as a person. Does that make sense?
Mm.
Like if somebody tries to I've had two people try to convert me like judgmentally, and I look at them like I look at them I try to be nice to them and tell them like, look, I hear what you're saying, but that's you can't do that to me.
You know what the hardest thing for a Christian is? Somebody who's really trying to follow God and wants to show love to everybody. The hardest thing for them is when you live that life and you show it in your actions, you show it in your words. And it's not that you have to mistake God in every sentence, but the fact that just the way you treat others, they see that, right?
Exactly.
And see, here's the thing: the hardest thing about for Christians though is because of that, when people come around you, they can't help but feel convicted of their own things because they're not doing the same thing. They're not doing. There's a mindset there. You know what I mean? And so because of
Exactly.
that, they're like, I feel judged when I'm around you. And so as a Christian, you're like, what am I? I'm trying here. What did I do? What did I say? And when we struggle with that, and we have to let each other know, hey, it's not you. We now sometimes it is us, but sometimes it's just because of that change that we've made in our life. And so for me, the fact that I have people that come into my